there, it's a big fish. It's a big, big fish. He's got it though, he's got it. Fantastic stuff, mate. Fantastic stuff. Big, heavy fish that is. I have to get over the net. Whoa, yeah.
Welcome to a live match. This is Lindholme Lakes, a beautiful venue. We know how good Lindholme Lakes is. It's full of fish. The match for today is the Shimano Aero Cup, all about feeder fishing and bomb fishing. Now, the rules for today's event: you can feed by hand, you can feed by catapult, you can throw bait in, catapult some pellets out, but name of the game, no float fishing, all bomb fishing, all method feeder fishing or standard cage feeder fishing if you fancy doing that sort of thing. I think there's going to be some big weights today. I think it's going to be good fishing. My peg is Loco Peg 38. Mixed feelings about my swim. I've never fished Loco in a match. I know some big fish in the lake I'm on though today. F1s, big carp, they're the target. I'm going to need some big carp though, because top prize today, £4 grand. Paying the top 5 plus sections, 5 peg sections. And looking around the lake, because I'm in an area that I don't really fancy, I think a section prize is going to be a brilliant reward for today. So Lee's going to follow us through the event. He's going to talk to you guys about how we're approaching the swim. We're going to talk about all the little intricacies, all my decision making throughout the day. But I've got to tell you, if you want to get more details, check out the YouTube members section. There's a join button just down below. If you want to find out all those little tips and tricks that I'm doing, look at things in a little bit more detail, join the edge. You'll get far more of a detailed approach to today's session. Right, I'm going to get the rest of my gear ready. I'll see you on the box.
The all-in is really important on these sort of matches. We're going to grab Rob in a minute, starting with the method. But when you're on a lake like this, where you cast is really important, because you're in danger of not getting your own water sometimes. And this little bit here, Rob's peg actually faces right into that corner, which he wouldn't be able to cast there because he'd be infringing on these anglers here. And you know, just watch that feeder go out on the far side, and it can be difficult sometimes to find your own water, but I think Rob's done it well there. I'd say he's probably 5 metres back from his maximum, and in a nice little bit of his own space. So he started on the method, and we'll grab it and have a look in a bit. I always think the start of a match, Rob, is one of the most crucial times, and obviously you're concentrating on your tip, but this angler on 40s had an F1, 42s had an F1. The guy in the corner, which is every other peg, it would be 46, 47, he's had one. Just watch Simon Fry 2 pegs down have one, and you've had a little skimmer, and we're 5 minutes in. I mean, that tells you there's a few fish feeding, mate. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be a decent day, but obviously you know the venue better than me. I've never fished this lake in a match, but I'm looking on, sort of drawing on any sort of experience that I've had on just fishing in general. And I'm looking at it, it's quite a mild day. The wind is off our back, which on a mild day we probably want the wind in our face. We're set back in a bay. I don't think there's a lot going for it, this area. Is this the list of excuses?
This is the list of excuses. So
I think you're doing fantastically well, yeah.
We're listen, we're hoping for the best. If I can catch a few fish early, I think we might have a chance, because I think throughout the whole of the lake there's going to be some margin fish caught, some short fish caught late. But I think we need to catch an odd fish early just to keep us in the race. And if I'm going into the last 90 minutes with maybe £50 in the net,
right,
£40 in the net,
right,
Does that sound optimistic?
I think you're optimistic. If you
Wow.
listen, if you're going into the last 90 minutes with £40 in the net, you are well on course. Do you know where you've chucked your feeder? I've literally just seen.
Yeah, I've just
one
seen a
roll
fish.
over.
Just seen a fish tail.
So-
Obviously, feeder only.
Mm.
It's probably, what is it out there? 8, 9, 10 foot.
Yeah, it's 8 or 9 foot
So
for sure.
it's a lot to obviously get fish to go down, isn't it? In that depth,
Yeah, it is, but
while it's still mild. Do you know what I mean? So let's run through the match plan while we're.
this is a great idea. I'm going to come around to your bait tray then if we're going to go around to.
Yeah,
on
come
a
round.
match
This is
plan.
the last time you'll be able to come round because
I'll be told off, won't I? For coming
You'll be
round
told
after
off.
this. Yeah.
right. I've got on my bait tray. I've got my micros, fishery micros. I've got a tiny bit of ground bait in there because I like to add a little tiny bit of ground bait. I've got, that's the bulk of my micros there at the back.
So your working tubs at the front.
Got
there,
a little bit of sort of like crushed expander, black and green crushed expander there.
Yeah.
I've got some 6s for firing out, some maggots for feeding, and somewhere on here, or down there, got some bread.
Right.
So this is the plan.
We're ready for the plan.
Hopefully catch an odd fish long in the first half hour, 40 minutes.
What's long for the
I'm saying
people at home?
40 to 45 metres is going to be my limit on here, I'm guessing, looking at the width of the lake.
Yeah. So what have you started at? would you say?
I've started at about 40 metres to give myself maybe 5 metres, maybe a little bit more if I need
Okay.
to push it out. Obviously not feeding anything out there. Then I want to, middle of the match, try and concentrate on a loose fed pellet line where I'm going to fish either bomb or pellet or my little hybrid feeder over the top of some loose fed pellets at, I'm saying 18, 20 metres, something like that. I think we need to feed today. I think the fish, it's still that time of year when we need to feed, so we need to get some bait in. So I'm going to loose feed pellets on that line where, sort of a pellet wagger line. Now I've got some 6s here. If they're not doing the job, I've got some 8s in my bag because it's a
Right.
deep lake. I might need to pin some fish down. It might be a case of feeding less bigger pellets rather than a lot of smaller
That's
pellets.
interesting. Yeah.
And then down here, I've just had a quick plumb along with my rod and a bomb. Seems to be about 4 foot deep there. Now, if I was fishing a pole, that's where I'd be fishing, especially late on. So I've got a load of maggots.
Is that
Now-
why I'm banned from this side?
Yeah, you're banned from this side. That's the only side I've got a chance because that's where I think my fish are going to come from. Now I've got a load of maggots. I've just got a pint out there. I've got 2 pints left in my bag, bucket behind me. And I'm just going to literally loose feed maggots by hand. We shot a video here on Strip Lake where we loose fed maggots at 5 metres out in sort of 4 foot of water. We had an F1 every single chuck on that lake. And if I was going on any other lake fishing pole, I'd be feeding maggots out my hand. So I'm thinking if I can feed maggots out my hand on that short line, that is my only chance of getting a late run. So method feeder with maggot over the top, hopefully that's where we make our late surge and add to our early fish.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic plan. I've tried that. Nobody really does that on here. I tried it a few years ago myself, and it. We won't get that in there. We won't get that on camera. We'll
No.
ignore that bit. But that would have been great if we had it on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've done it before, and the only downside with that can be there is a lot of silverfish
Yeah.
in this lake. So you're gonna.
We might be doing it with pellets
Well,
then.
well, what I was going to say is you might be, because you've got 3 pints, saving it literally 3 pints in 2 hours.
I'm not going to start feeding it until
Do you know what
late
I
on.
mean?
I won't be feeding it until
Exactly.
late on.
So that I think that could help you because once those F1s find it, they soon bully out the small fish. And like you've said, it's early November, so I still feel like the fish are in the shallower water, and you're casting to the deepest place in the lake at the moment, or probably on the complex.
Yeah, if
So,
I get a
you know,
fish here, I think it's a little bit of a bonus.
no, it's
to
a
be honest.
bonus, yeah, absolutely. So, well, look, there you go. There's the basis of Rob's plan. I'm here to keep you guys informed of what's happening. And that lake over there, Benny's, that's the one I really fancied today. I was really hoping Rob would draw there, but unfortunately not. So we'll see what happens. There's loads to play for today. Just to recap on what there is to play for. It's £100 every 5 pegs, so that's going to pay for my sandwiches if he can win that, which is not going to be easy because I'm not going to say he's in one of the better 5 pegs in his section. And then, you know, of course, there's a fantastic prize for the winner £4,000, which I think will be a humongously tough ask from this lake, but you never know. So let's see how it unfolds. I know you're concentrating because this is the first fish, but
Do it.
tell us. I'm already doing it. What are you thinking then? Because this is a change of plan, isn't it?
Change of plan, yeah. Obviously nothing chucking out into the middle, which we've discussed, haven't we? It just feels like sort of no man's land chucking out there.
Yeah.
We've been loose feeding a few pellets. We're sort of 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
We've made the switch and we've hooked a fish on the pellet line. So if we catch a few fish here early, this is earlier than I expectedly on this line.
Well, I think the thing is, mate, is that I think you've summed that up quite nicely, because just to give the guys at home a little bit of insight as you hopefully pan this nice big F1, this is no man's land. You're not on the bar. There's 3 people chucking towards that bar and they've all caught like 4 or 5 fish already. And you're sort of chucking, well, you're nowhere near it. You're miles away from it on this peg. Nice F1 though. And the problem with that is that it means you're basically catching nothing because the fish are on the bar and you're in the middle of nowhere. You can see here, this guy on peg 40's got one. Him on 42, I think he's got like 4 or 5. But it's mild, and I've seen 15 fish caught on this lake already, which tells me that they're feeding. So it's a good idea, mate. An early look on that bomb and pellet. I think if I was fishing here with a pole, I'd be fishing long pole and pinging an odd pellet on wind off my back, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would, mate. You would. I think we've got to feed some bait, Lee. We've got to feed some bait. We're not going to catch anything by not feeding away.
No, not in this. Not in the winter. We're not. No, for definite.
We've got to feed, and
right.
Obviously putting a bit of bait in.
Yeah.
Seems to have worked. So there we go.
You can see he's just plopped out a bomb and pellet there. About
20 metres?
Yeah,
18?
Maximum 20, 18 metres. Kept it nice and tight. Yeah. I've noticed people loose feeding you around you, Rob, are actually doing it further out than that. So I do feel like you've got your own water there. But we'll see. Apologies if it's a little bit dark. The lights are a little bit poor here, so hopefully you can get a... Rob, just give us an idea of the tackle that you've used to chuck on that bomb and pellet.
Right, I've got 10-foot rod. I've got 6-pound reel line. And we've got a 15-gram inline bomb. I love an inline bomb for this sort of thing. We've got 15-grammer on because we don't need a heavy bomb to chuck the distance. We only need a little bomb to make a little tiny plop on the water's surface. And then I always like the fact that it sinks slower through the water and you can create a little bit of an arc as it swims through the water. It actually swings back towards you rather than sinking straight down like a heavier bomb probably would. And that just maybe straightens out that hook length a little bit better. We've got only a short hook length of 10 inches. It's 0.14, it's got a size 16 hook on, tied knotless knot. We've got a little quick stop on, and then we can just rotate our baits. So we've caught that first fish on a couple of little bits of bread, little discs of bread.
Oh, bread, right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Lee, I've chucked some pellets in the water. Is
it clear?
It's clear, mate, yeah. It's clear, loads clearer than
Corn
I was
could be a
expecting
good option as well.
Yeah, so we've got different baits to chuck out, and I think something that's a little bit more visible.
Here we go.
Could
and
be
there's
the
a
way
good
to go.
chance of a carp.
Yeah, well, this is the idea.
Which is exactly what you've got here now.
Cool.
That was a little bit ropey, mate.
Old clip. I thought there would be an old clip on
Old
that.
clip. Hey, listen, I was going to say there is a great chance of an odd carp here, and that is a carp. And on 0.14, you did well to get your clip off there, pal. Let's stay for this drama.
Oh, don't. This is piling the pressure on you.
This is piling the pressure on you. The thing is, you know, fishing how you're fishing there, I'm going to put it out there, at this moment in time on the lake, maybe one other person is fishing like that. I think everybody else is chucking a method at the moment to the middle. So I'm really buoyed by the fact that you've gone in there and hooked an F1 and then a carp. I mean, literally 2 chucks, haven't we?
Yeah. It
Two
just shows how important location is, doesn't it?
Location. And bearing in mind that you've had 45 minutes in the middle for one little pecker skimmer. Oh.
This looks a big fish, mate.
It's a big fish there, mate. There's some massive fish in this lake.
Is there?
Massive. So,
Are we going to struggle with my little landing net if we get him close to the net?
If it's one of the 15-pounders, you'll need to do some shuffling, pal. And it could well be, mate. The average carp size on here is like £8, and that's average. But I've seen 10 fish for 120, 140 £140 here before.
God,
so
he's going for a run, mate. I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like I've hooked the bloke on the far bank and he's reeling in.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the bloke on the far bank is reeling in.
I think he's cast over me and then he's reeling in his feeder.
Might be. You never know. Looks like a big fish, that does, mate.
Big head nod as well.
Yeah, big head nod. I know you don't really want me to do this, but I'm going to come around the other side. The light's terrible here, and I want everyone to see the action. And you're not going down the edge just yet, so it's just... Here we go, that's better. Look at that. Oh. Rob's got this very unique playing style of basically sitting there looking like he's still looking at his tip. but actually he's playing a fish in. And it always makes me laugh because sometimes people say he's never caught anything. I tend to say that about you most of the time, mate.
Yeah. Hey, there is several months when it is like that.
So this is where that soft rod's going to be important, isn't it? Because I mean, you asked me before, is 014 too light? And I gave you that look as if to say, there's some creatures in here. But, you know, he's got all the time in the world. You won't need a big weight today in terms of winning the lake, I don't think. You know, and if you get this in with your £3 F1, it's a solid start. Simon Fry's down there. Look, he's giving us a little wave. Hi, Simon. Great guy, Simon. Fish. But 42 is also catching a few fish. So, some nice live action on this. Some nice live action on this little vid for you guys today. And see there, it's not a massive fish for the guy on 42. I mean, it's probably like his 6th fish, like a couple of carp. That's a skimmer. So, you know, it's not forced to be brilliant. The match was actually won on Saturday, if I have a little zoom across, from that peg in the middle there, peg 17 with a massive 147 £, Craig Tidswell. And there's been a lot of fish. He's already caught 2 or 3 fish there on 17. Sorry, peg 17. You know, and he's playing one now. So I think that bar is a popular area, but I'm going to say that, you know, these fish on here, I mean, Rob's just hooked, that's a big fish there. One thing I'll say, Rob, often the weights here, like 15 F1s and 3 carp, it's like £70. It's not a race, that, is it?
No, I think it's never a race. You might have to race in the last half an hour, but that is literally the only time you'll be racing. I mean, this fish is...
It's a big fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's some big fish in here, mate, I'll tell you now. Do you think that bread... I mean, I noticed that you did squeeze it. Do you think that's popped up, that bread? Or?
Yeah, you know me, Lee. I'm every time I chuck out, I'm like analysing my bait or my feeder or how it's being presented. And I've had a couple of casts out with 3 discs on from the centre of the slice, which compresses it a little bit more.
Right.
And my last 2 fish have been from the edge of the slice, which is slightly...
Oh my God.
I know, well... Yeah.
Flipping heck, this sounds like a video.
From the side of the slice, which is a little bit
more
softer,
buoyant.
a little bit more buoyant.
But
I've
only
put
2 pieces?
2 pieces on, so it's less compressed as well.
Right, so which
slower
I think
fall.
is an amazing carp bait, Rob.
Yeah,
I've got to be
fantastic,
honest.
Yeah. It's either an amazing carp bait or an amazing pike bait. There's some pike in here, isn't there?
Hey, listen.
I don't think it is a pike.
I don't think it's a pike because I don't think pike go charging off like that. But if it makes you feel any better, you're definitely not getting a pike in that net.
No. No.
No. If I'd known you were going to take your time this much, maybe I could have done a time lapse.
Yeah, you could have done.
The guys at home. But all very interesting. Still feeding 6 mils, Rob, there?
Well, not at the minute 'cause I'm feeding and playing a fish,
Well,
but yeah.
were you?
When I get a chance, I'll feed some 6 mils here.
Yeah. Well, you've got to put full concentration on this fish. It's clearly a big, big fish. Do you ever feel like there's a risk it could be foul hooked with the bread being popped up?
No,
or?
you can tell by you get those little tiny nods. Look,
Yeah, he looks in the mouth, but very, very interesting start to this match today.
I'm going to call it, Lee. I'm going to say £30. He's a 30-pounder.
It's a 30-pounder.
He's a dirty 30, yeah.
I don't think there's any of them in here, mate, despite what the board says. No, he'll do well.
No, if he feels a decent fish, mate, I'm saying he could be double figures.
There's 20-pounders in here, Rob.
Right.
You know, but like if he's a double figure fish, it's a great, great start. Because I'm saying, looking around, like probably £20 winning the lake. So that peg 17 that had that massive weight last week, he's actually caught 2 fish in this time. Only F1s, but it just shows that the fish are there, you know. I'm hoping when I edit this video I can do like a double speed on this fish playing. I'm very impressed so far. Obviously had that ropey moment with your old clip. Good lesson for us all. Make sure you take your old clips off. And this lake, there is an odd bigger carp in Benny's. I don't think there's any in Bonsai anymore. If there is, there isn't many. There is some big ones in Benny's, which is, I don't know if people have moved them about or whatever happened there, but this is the lake that holds the big uns. You know, and it's one of them. 5 or 6 great big fish and a dozen F1s, and you never know. So it's certainly started off better than I thought it might do today. Like 42, he's just winding another skimmer back. So he's just lost a bit of momentum there, I think, which makes it interesting. Tell you what, he went on a run, he did, didn't he?
He went on a massive run. I was a bit concerned about far bank hooking up, and then obviously next peg. I think he's.
You've made some good inroads now, though, haven't you?
It's just so heavy. That's what.
Some big fish, mate. Absolutely no rush whatsoever, because, like we say, don't forget, just a recap on the rules for this league, and it's not a league, sorry, this final. It's a bomb and feeder league and final, and that means that you can fish bomb, fish feeder, but you can also loose feed, or even throw little balls of like micros or maggots or anything by hand. It's quite a unique rules. But it's proved ever so popular at Lindholme. I mean, there's a Tuesday league, and there's nearly every time there's 40 people or more, you know, sometimes high 40s on a Tuesday, which I just think shows how popular that style of fishing is. You know, and Lindholme is probably the best venue I've ever been to in terms of that style of fishing, you know, for getting bites throughout the winter. You know, you can often come nowhere in the league by catching 30 to 40 pound every round. Often you need at least one big 100-pound weight and then some strong 50-60 pound backup weights, you know. So, and that's through like December and January as well, which is what makes it really interesting. So I mean, you're putting full concentration into playing this fish, Rob. Is there any thought in your mind that you should be feeding, or?
No, not at this early stage in the match. I'm thinking, get this fish out. Yeah, take my time.
I think if anything, it probably allows the bottom to be
just
cleared up a few
down.
pellets. Yeah, calmed it down a little bit. Yeah. Look, just notice how Rob's keeping the rod fantastically low there, as low as he possibly can. It's a big fish. I've just seen it then. It's a very, very big fish. Keeping his rod really low. He won't even lift it unless he absolutely has to, because that's otherwise trying to lift that big heavy weight is so difficult. Seen it boil there. It's a big fish. It's a big, big fish. He's got it though. He's got it. Fantastic stuff, mate. Fantastic stuff. Big, heavy fish that is. I have to get hold of the net. Whoa, yes, absolutely brilliant. I would say what? A definite double, Rob?
Yeah, it's a double, isn't he, mate?
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah. Maybe 12?
Yeah, it could be 12.
Yeah. Great little...
It could be 12, mate,
great little bit there. So I'm saying Rob's got £15. He's caught another couple on 42 and he has caught on 17. They are the boss pegs on that shallow bar that's out there, but a few more of them and we could be in business. Well done, mate.
For the most in-depth videos about fishing on the internet, you can become a member at www.anglingedge.co.uk. Sign up today, you get all the new videos and access to all the past videos as well. And you're in luck. You can go on YouTube, The Edge YouTube channel, and now if you love watching your content on YouTube, you can become a member on YouTube instead and watch all the videos from the past and going forward, the best fishing videos on the internet.
Right, so this is actually quite exciting. I wasn't expecting this to happen. This lake is fishing really well. Guy on 17 is catching. But the reason I brought you back in, we're an hour and 20 in. We watched that big carp, and Rob has just had an unbelievable 3 in 3 casts and probably not waited more than 90 seconds for each one. I mean, the last 2 he's had while he's sinking his line like this, which is quite frankly remarkable for the time of year. But I'm looking across to Benny's, I've seen a lot of fish caught. You know, the guy on 40's got one on now, the guy on 42's got one on, look. You know, what a fantastic place this is, and the fishing is brilliant, but it's exciting. Rob's got definite £25. You know, we're an hour and a quarter in. Called him ambitious with his £50 with 90 minutes to go, but if the last 15 minutes are anything to go by, and look, another indication straight away, there's a lot of feeding fish where he's fishing. which is really exciting. Really exciting. Like I say, this guy next peg's got one on, 42's got one on, so there's clearly a lot of fish. Rob, are you still thinking? Just tell us what you're feeding there. Give us an idea of what you're feeding.
I'm feeding 10 6mm twice, so like rattle on the surface, and then hopefully out of those sort of 20 pellets, I'm not counting them by the way, it could be 12 each time, but 20, 24, 25 pellets that I'm putting in. Some of it's getting to the bottom, and then I can sit, and I can probably sit for 3-4 minutes, knowing that I've got a bit of bait on the bottom, and if I don't get a bite after 3 or 4 minutes, then I'll recast and repeat the process.
Yeah. Well, that's... Oh, I thought I was going to be on, mate.
No, he's see, that was a pull round. I think he's had my bait, so I'm going to repeat the process.
That's one of the things I personally find with a lighter bomb. But I mean, listen, I've watched you just catch 3.
Yeah, that wasn't a very big fish at all.
Incredibly well. Because you've had a big trot back, haven't you?
Yes.
They're picking it up, and you're still thinking bread's best, or are you thinking maybe pellet?
What have we had in the last 20 minutes?
Absolutely unbelievable. To be honest, mate, I've never seen a 20-minute spell on the bomb like that. You've literally caught 25 pound in 25 minutes. It was brilliant. So a couple of pieces of bread is really working well.
So I'm plopping in.
He's casting it out. One thing I noticed, just for you guys, before we settle into, let Rob really settle in. He's casting his bomb out. He's taking all the time he needs to sink his line. I would say a good minute to sink his line. Then he picks his catapult up and feeds over the top. And he's had 2 before he's even fed. And he's had a couple straight after his feed. So it's just an interesting, obviously timings on a bomb are really important. Some people almost rush to pick their catapult up. I really noticed that Rob hasn't done that. So. Great stuff, absolutely brilliant stuff. Well, I want to say that it's been non-stop like this since the last time we were with you, but it hasn't, and it's turning into an interesting match. We are now at the halfway point, Rob, and tell us about what's going on.
Well, we had a beautiful run, didn't we? And then just bites, sort of literally, like flicking a switch, just bites and indications just stopped, and there's been a couple of other anglers start catching on the lake, and I just wonder if the fish have sort of moved away from where we are. Really calm in this little bit of a bay that I'm in, and I just wonder if we've caught a few fish and pushed them out. So we've gone a little bit further. We're still bomb and pelleting, but we've got the 8mm off the subs bench. And now we're chucking, with this wind behind us, probably, what are we chucking? 35 metres, maybe 30 metres?
Just 30 metres, I reckon it's about 10 metres further than where you were fishing.
So we've gone a little bit further, and we've just had our first fish just going a bit further. We've probably got 35, 40 pounds, something like that, haven't we?
Yeah.
So it's a decent, we're on target for what we thought.
But that's great, and that's a big carp, that is, Rob.
Get in there.
Well done, mate.
But the trouble is, we've got Sci-Fry. Sci-Fry's got loads of room, hasn't it?
Yeah, so Sci-Fry, great friend of the channel. He's having a good run. Look, there he is, he's having a wave again. Will you give us a prediction, Simon? What have we got? What weight have you got? 50 pounds, so he's doing really well. Rob's about 40. About 40. So he's doing really well, his Si. And he's just, what's happened is, as Rob explained, I mean, Rob literally caught 30 pound in 30 minutes. It was fantastic. And then over the next 40 minutes, he's had just one F1. And Simon Fry in that time has had a good 30 pound. As if, and it appeared to me, because the only people in the last hour who have caught anything have been opposite on 17, who's had a steady period. He's got 50 pound for definite. The guy on 42, and I reckon he's 45 pound. And they've been the only people that have caught in that last hour until Rob's really had that big carp. And it doesn't actually look like the bloke on the next peg's got a little F1. So that tells me, Rob, that you're right. The fish have almost pushed to where they want to be. So they've pushed into this corner to our right. Simon Fry's got No, he hasn't. And that seems to be what's happening to me. So I think it's a good move, Rob, to move further out, don't you? Look, so
I think so.
There goes those 8 mils.
So I'm hoping that we can come back when we can catch on that shorter line again, because I think that's where we're going to need to catch to, you know, get a proper weight. But if we can, while it's gone quiet, if we can maybe nick, I don't know, 2-3 more fish out there.
Well, I mean, that fish was £8, wasn't it?
7.
Oh, sorry.
£7.
But my point is, like you say, well, 2 more of them, you're £20 in this little period. And this is a dead period, so I think you're well on track. I reckon that £7 has put you on £42.
Okay.
So, really good. And he's just caught one next to you, actually, who hasn't had one for ages, and he's just caught one there. So maybe, just maybe, the fish are settling back down again after this iffy period. But no, for now, it's a great fishing match for sure. Rob, 15 minutes to go, and it's not been the glory hour that you'd hoped for, but it's not been completely uneventful, has it?
No, we've had an odd fish, mate, but it's just not kicked off how I wanted it to. So we've had, do we have one more fish on that bottom line, which I thought was going to be good. Just dropped him down the edge, and we've had one F1 down here. A few indications. I just feel like, because we're in this bay, I just don't know if anything's coming into this bay. But I think we've committed to it now. So the fact that we've had a fish down here, and there is an odd, obviously, peg 42 who's been catching fish most of the time. He's dropped in.
Yeah.
There is some fish feeding in there.
I've got to admit, Rob, it's fished so much better than I thought it would. I thought it, bearing in mind, just to put it in context, 3 days ago, a massive weight won the lake, £147, but then 60 was second, and a big 30 was, you know, good, really good. You know, most people had like £30, so I wasn't expecting it. But Simon Fry there, the great Simon Fry.
Simon Fry's caught a few fish.
He has, I reckon, Simon Fry. I don't want to get carried away, but he's definitely got £80, I'm going to say. I'll be disappointed if he hasn't got £80. Yeah, well, I think he has, but we'll let the scales tell the story. I think he could have £100, but let's say 80, because it's hard. You can't watch everybody. There's man opposite 17. He's slowed up a bit, but he's got a decent weight, and the guy on 42 is over 80 as well. So that's 3 people on the lake. But I'm even going to say the backup weights, Rob. You know,
Not many on
I think you're best at rest, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I've got to love this guy on 42 because he's done brilliantly well on the bar, and he's even caught some down the edge, which is not the best edge peg as well. So he's had a great day, he has. So we need a golden finish to have any sort of chance, Rob. I'm going to say the weights that there's been, I think you've done really well, but I think the fact that it's fished well on the good pegs has sort of almost stopped you winning, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, we almost had the target weight right, didn't we? But it's fished well. You know, on like you say, on the 2 pegs that could reach that middle of the lake on that bottom there, and then I think size benefited us, like you say.
Yeah, it's been some fish in that corner. That's right. Yeah.
You know, he's Simon. That's exactly what he's doing. Cause he drew there on the match at the weekend and did well. So he knows what he's doing. I just feel that if we can get, well, I'll tell you what we need. We need matey on 42 to pick up some mate money.
So you can get a default section. Listen, I think a default section from here would be fantastic, because the problem is, I think that was always going to be a big ask to beat him for the section.
So don't look fat.
Yeah. It's on widescreen, so you look great. You always look great, to be fair, mate.
Steve Cook.
Steve Cook. He looks great as well.
Gone 2 ways though.
Best peg on Lindholme. £40.6.
That's right, just have a picture of those. There's a few more in here, yeah. John, picture of these days.
Yeah, is that the biggest net?
Yeah, it is, mate, yeah.
I won't get 10 even.
Nice.
So if we get one
Yeah, cheers, Rob.
as well, Rob, while the video's running.
Lovely.
First weigh £40. What are you saying, Aaron? Has he blown it here or has he done a fantastic job? What are you saying?
I think he's messed it up, mate. I watched
Yeah?
him all day.
Right, yeah.
I just can't drop that method quite right.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Is ours picking up punt on? I thought you were pebble down.
Oh. That was quiet, didn't he?
A bit less.
30 poundish.
35, 36.
32, 4. 32, 4.
Well done, Rob.
72.
Nice perch in there. Do you see that perch?
Yeah, beautiful. £4.5.
Cheers, mate.
72.10, Rob.
72.10. So, Rob, the scales gave you 72.10, I believe.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great weight, great weight.
I mean, I don't know if I'd have took that before the start, but halfway through I'd have took that because things just didn't look like they were going to plan, did they? We had that great early start and then just things petered out. So £72, just great day's fishing. Lindholme is a fantastic venue. I've got to say though, I think we've got a default section win because
Good chance.
Steve,
Yeah, Steve on peg, yeah, on peg 42's done brilliant, hasn't he? What's he had? £137.
£137,
Yeah,
which fantastic weight on the day.
really great
He's
performance.
ended
I think he could win it, Rob.
Yeah, but let's talk because obviously he's ended up catching some fish in his edge, hasn't he? He's caught a load of fish up against that sunken island, and then he's fished last hour in his edge, and he's had some great fish. So
He's done brilliantly well. Just
he could have won the event. I mean, he's definitely come top 5, hasn't he?
100%. I mean, just to give you an idea of how well it's fished, Simon Fry, who's down there, he's weighed £101. Brilliant performance from Simon. There was a £95 on that peg across the lake, and to my knowledge, Rob, you're fourth on the lake, which is, I've got to say, a great performance because obviously the bar has held those fish from the weekend, 100 like we talked about. I think those two anglers on the bar, brilliant performances, by the way. It's not easy to catch those weights, but they've had a great day's fishing. Simon's done a great job catching them in that corner all day. And then I think, you know, I'm not being funny, mate, you had a great run and I feel like you've just run out of fish. So I think you should be really happy. The
disappointing part of it was, Lee, is that because I'm set back a little bit, my margins never kicked off. I really felt that I was just going to get a late run in that margins. I don't know about you, but I felt, come on, let's get going, and it just never kicked off. That was the disappointing part of it.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I've just had odd fish. I've never really had that glory spell like I did early on. I needed something to end my match.
I feel like from what I've seen here today and how well this is fished, you're going to need £90 odd to frame. Yeah. So I'm going to say there's a big, you need a lot, you know, to get that a little bit further on and catch £90 would have been a big ask. So Rob, you've done a great job. Thanks for the insight for all the guys at home.
Tell them where they can get more detailed videos.
I sure will. We're going to put the results up. I will put the results up here at the end once the final results are in place, just to see if Steve Curtis has won this match. Don't forget, if you want to see more about what Rob has done today in terms of like looking back at all the videos, all the methods we've done, we've covered these sort of methods in the past, become a member down on this YouTube channel, and there's obviously very detailed videos. That's what we do. We like to go into the methods in detail on the member section. We're going to keep bringing you little insights like this on the YouTube channel for you guys to enjoy. So join us next time.
Right, next section, 38 to 46. Rob Warren from peg 38 was £72.
Well done, boys.
Well done, right.
So the winner, the new champion, the Aero Cup champion, is Stephen Curtis from Loco Peg 42 with a weight of 137 pounds, picking up a cool 4,000 pounds.
Well done, Steve.
Well done, mate.
Well done.
And of course, trophy, the splendid trophy, mate.
Yes.
All that with pride. Oh, for fucking